Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. This class is going to be a little bit different. Rather than being a full kind of follow along class, this is just going to be an exploration of a few different drills working on handstand in a hallway. So the reason I like to do handstands in a hallway is because for someone who has a big fear still of tipping over backwards and falling on my back, which is a pretty common fear for a lot of handstand and inversion beginners, using a hallway is a great way to kind of find some control and be able to use these two walls to kind of bounce back and forth between without being worried of going too far and falling over. So I really like to use the hallway. That being said, if you don't have a hallway that you can use, these are still drills you can use just with a regular wall. So know that that is an option, but then just be thinking about, keeping nice and stacked and being prepared to cartwheel out if you go too far and your weight starts to fall back. That being said, all you'll need today is some sort of wall or hallway. And then if you like it, I might be using my board a little bit here. I like to handstand on a hard surface. I just find that it helps me find a little bit of a better grip. That's a tip I got from my coach. And so if you're gonna be handstanding on carpet like I am today and you have some sort of hard surface, it's an option, but totally an option. It's not necessary at all. Last thing I wanted to say before we get started is that I am going into these drills assuming you are already warmed up, at least through the wrists. So if you have not done that yet and you do want to practice along with me and try a few of these drills, I would just encourage you to pause, take a few moments, do a couple wrist circles, maybe some palm peels. I have a 10-minute wrist mobility and strength class on my page, so that would be a great place to get a little warm up in, and then you can come back here to do these handstand drills. So we are going to start out this class just practicing getting our legs up into a chest to wall handstand, so that if you are truly a beginner here, you don't feel like you're getting left behind. So for getting the legs up into a chest to wall handstand, I like to have my hands a couple feet away from the wall just so I have some space, and then I bring my left leg up onto the wall just because I like to start with that leg up. You can find whichever leg works better for you. Press down into the hands and into that left foot to squeeze the other leg up, and you are in a chest to wall handstand. You can stay here and just breathe for a moment, and then come on down the same way you got up, swinging that right leg down and then bringing your left leg down to meet it. Feel free to pause and play around with that for a few minutes, just practicing lifting one foot up at a time and getting it up into that chest to wall. When you are ready, you can come back here and we will move on to our next drill. The next drill we're going to be doing today is just going into a chest to the wall handstand. So for this, we're going to get into it the same way that we just did, hands planted in front of us, lifting that one leg up, and then you're going to start to walk your hands in towards the wall that your stomach is facing. So I'm going to be facing this way and I'm going to walk my hands towards this wall. This can feel a little bit scary the first time you're doing it, so just know that is normal. Really think about a nice strong push and just walk the hands back, and remember you have that other wall behind you, so if you start to get a little uneven or tippy, you'll be just fine. So I'm going to try to cue a little bit as I go, but otherwise you can feel free to watch or join me if you would like. Hands come down on the ground, left leg lifts up, swing your other leg up and around. Nice, you are in a chest to wall handstand. You can stay right here or start to shift the weight from hand to hand and walk them towards the wall. The closer you get towards the wall, the harder this will be. Think about pressing through the arms, eyes look in between your thumbs. Just hold and breathe. Awesome job. You can walk your hands forward to come on out. Alrighty, so we are going to add on to that chest to wall handstand that we just did with some single leg stacks. So we're gonna get into our chest to wall, walk the hands as close to the wall as you feel comfortable and sturdy. Think about here, your ribs and your pelvis. So it's normal in a handstand to try to kind of stick the booty out. I want you to think about squeezing the booty in, ribs stack on top of the hips. So your pelvis is nice and engaged, your whole core is turned on and ready to go. Obviously your core is going to be turned on no matter what you do here, but just thinking about that nice stack of the ribs over the pelvis. We're going to come into our chest to wall, both feet on the wall, and then stack one leg at a time towards the ceiling. Think about reaching that foot up we're gonna hold and then bring it back to the wall and switch it out. So I will do my best to cue while I'm upside down. Can be kind of hard as I get out of breath. Feel free to watch, or you can join me for this one. Hands come down onto the ground, lift those feet up, walk the hands to a spot that you feel good, press down into the hands, think about pulling belly button to spine, right foot stays on the wall, stack the left leg up. Think about an extra push, reach the left foot towards the ceiling, left toes come to the wall, stack the right leg up, push, lift, hold. Awesome job. You can walk your hands out and come on down. Alrighty, so if that felt like enough for you, you can stay right there and keep on practicing single leg switches, keeping one foot on the wall the whole time. If you're feeling good and you want to move on a little bit, we are going to take this into some toe pulls. So you're going to find that same idea, that top leg stacking, reaching up towards the ceiling, and then this foot that's on the wall, you're going to try to just bring it to meet, maybe hold for a breath, and then switch it out. So instead of meeting at the wall to switch your feet, we're meeting in the center. So again, if you've never done this before, feel free to watch, or you can join me. We're going to try to do a couple on each side, just switching out through center, nice and slow with control. And remember, if you tip over, it's fine. You've got a wall behind you. All right, I'm going to use my board for this. And this, your hands don't need to be as close to the wall as they were in your first chest wall. I like to keep my hands a little bit farther away so that I have room to pull that foot off the wall and stack. So I'm going to be right in the middle of my hallway here. Hands come down onto the ground, one leg stacks, press in, the other leg stacks, reach one leg up towards the ceiling, press down into the ground, start to get light on the toes that are on the wall, and maybe you switch it out. Press down, extra lift, switch it out. Do one more on each side. Think about that extra lift at the top and see if you go a little too far, you've got your wall behind you. That is one of my favorite drills to play with in the hallway because you can really start to slow it down and find that center, your straight handstand, where you're holding in between the two walls. And then again, if your feet, go too far one way or the other way, you're okay because you have those walls supporting you. Alrighty, y'all, I just have two more quick drills for us before we wrap up this short little straight handstand session. So this next one, we're going to be working on some L switches, very similar to the toe pulls we were just doing. The only difference is you're going to be a little bit farther away from the wall in an attempt to bring the legs closer to an L shape before you switch. Again, really important here, think about ribs stacked over pelvis, belly button pulling in towards spine. You want to keep this nice firm canister engaged the whole time that we're doing these handstand drills. So I'm going to use my board for this one. I like to be a little bit closer towards the wall that my back is going to be on, so that I have some more space behind my legs, like I mentioned. So hands come down onto the block, stack one leg, reach the other leg, and think about right away stacking the pelvis over the ribs, belly button towards spine. Maybe bring the right leg down a little bit lower on the wall, left leg reaches towards the top, and bring it in. Again, think about stacking the ankle on top of the hips, reaching towards the ceiling, and switch. Again, maybe you stack, find straight before coming back to the wall. Play with this a few times already. And then our last drill that we're going to be playing with is more just for fun. It's a little opportunity to bounce between both walls. This is a really good drill if you just want to focus on spending some time on your hands without being too worried about finding straight necessarily. So the main difference with this drill is instead of starting with 2 feet on one wall, we're gonna have one leg on each of our walls in this hallway. And then we're just gonna play with bringing them into center and switching. Bringing them into center and switching. Think about pelvis and ribs stacked on top of each other. Keep your canister and core engaged the whole time. This is just a great time to spend some time on your hands, playing back and forth. Maybe you find a little bit of hang time in the middle at straight. Maybe you don't. Either way, you are building strength in your wrists, your forearms, your shoulders, and just building a little bit of confidence, moving your legs while you're upside down. So feel free to join me or you can watch. I like to have my board pretty close to in between my two walls. Hands pressed down, one leg lifts, squeeze the other leg up, and then pick whichever leg you'd like to go to the other wall. Again, think about hips stacked on top of ribs. Press through the palms. Ooh, I went a little too far towards the back, so I'm going to reset. Press and switch. Press, squeeze, switch. Switch. Try to think about squeezing the inner thighs together as they come through center. You can play with that a few times. And then when you are done, that will be the end of this short little drill session today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really love using the hallway for handstands, so I will definitely be creating more classes in this space. If you have any specific handstand shapes you'd like to work on, half tuck, stag, straddle, we can really make them all work in the hallway. So let me know and I can create some classes for you. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon.